Good morning. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 14th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com, and it's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. Okay, the world is changing. Obviously, we've reached the end of the 90 days of the initial tariff pause, and tariffs are back, and they're back in a big way. 30% plus tariffs have been announced on, well, all of the US's major trading partners. We got Japan, South Korea, South Korea, European Union, Canada, 50%, Mexico, 50% tariffs on copper. Big tariffs apparently coming our way, but just details are up to 200% on the pharmaceuticals. So tariffs are back in a big way. Furthermore, I think because of all the TACO stuff and because of all the idea that the market was just assuming in that Trump would cave, I think he's less likely to cave this time. So although maybe some deals will be done, I know the European Union is interested. Canada, I suspect, is more or less giving up on deals at the moment. It's and Japan's not currently talking. We'll see how it develops, but the tariffs are back in a big way. The possibility that I was talking about, that this move up in the markets might continue into December, is likely not on the table. We've got daily sell signals fixing pretty much across the board. We've got 60-minute RSI 14 sell signals currently fixed on SPX on the Qs and Dia. We've got daily sell signals fixed on RSI 5 and RSI 14 on IWM. We've got an RSI 5 daily sell signal fixed on Qs, and we've got a daily RSI 14 sell signals and a daily RSI 5 sell signal. On daily RSI 14 sell signals brewing on both Qs and SPX, and RSI 5 sell signal also brewing on SPX. We've also got a number of little level tops here. When I say little, they're not tiny, but they're not as large as I would expect. I think we're probably in the topping process. We've got little level tops here. If we see a sustained breakdown below about the 6240 area, that could get us down into about the 6150 area, so down here towards the monthly pivot at 6146, and I think we're probably going to see that move in the next few days. I think this overall will put us in a topping process. I've been considering options for a larger topping pattern. We will see, but I think the tide is turning, and as long as we stay on this policy track, then chances are we're topping out here, and this may well be as high as we're going to see this year. We shall see. All right, NQ, subject to obviously further policy changes, of which there have been a lot. Nice looking little level top again on NQ. Again, we'd be looking really at a back test of the monthly pivot. RTY, slightly larger double top here. Obviously on the bigger picture, what I'd be assuming at this stage is the IHS that has broken up on IWM will probably fail because the conditions are not right for it. Dia and YM haven't quite retested the high here, so we haven't got any daily sell signals brewing there, and we don't have any double tops. This looks more like a bull flag. And I would say on DAX and the STX, which have seen more downside than the others and are closer to the monthly pivot than the others, we've also got some, or at least when you go a little lower here, we'll have some decent quality possible 60-minute buy signals brewing. I'm not saying the party is over altogether. I'm not saying we won't retest the recent highs. I'm not saying they won't be retested potentially again as part of the topping process here, but I think we are probably in a topping process. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture here. I've been having a look at the patterns here quite carefully. This is plainly the pattern on SPX, so this hasn't overthrown. Nice looking little level top here, but I'd be expecting this wedge to break down. Potentially, if tariffs come back in a big way, then this we're going to retrace the whole of the April rally, and at that stage, of course, what we would be looking at here would be, in all probability, a double top. With this double top support. This is something I've talked about before, the idea that we might get back into 3,500 area, and that is actually a pretty significant looking target area. On the Qs, we could be looking at a double top here too. And we have a decent looking rising wedge here, which has just got a little overthrow here, and then re-established this as resistance afterwards, and we're pretty close to breaking down from this wedge. Less nice wedges on Dia and IWM, but still pretty respectable. More uncertainty about where exactly the trend lines go, but either way, these look like wedges. They're decent, although they're not as decent, obviously, as the other ones that we've seen on the on SPX and NDX. But I would, in any case, generally expect those to lead. So we'll see. All right, DAX. DAX, nice looking little level top here. Nikkei, if we're not going to make target on the IWM IHS, then it's still possible we might retest this high here at 42.4, and it depends, of course, how long the turning process takes, but I'm thinking that's less likely now than it would have been otherwise. All right, looking at DX. DX, we've got what looks like a bear flag here and what looks like a bull flag on USD and on GBP USD. GBP USD has a 60-minute buy signal fix. I'm leaning towards seeing a low retest on DX and high retests on Euro and GBP. And either continuation down from there and a break of what is pretty significant support, or we turn back up in the bull scenario here, which is that we head back up and retest the highs. If tariffs are coming in a big way, I haven't read some. I don't really get the logic for it entirely, but I have read certainly some detailed calls that tariffs would initially be good for the dollar, even if I'm not quite sure why that might be. But we do have a bullish setup on US dollar, so we'll see. Looking at ZB, we've been forming a head and shoulder here and on TLT, and we've been forming an IHS on TNX. This is breaking down now, and it's breaking down with a target basically at a retest of this low. I'm thinking that's got a shot. I'm thinking actually it's got probably more than a shot. So I think we obviously the big beautiful bill raised debt considerably, and the argument about it was that it wouldn't be negative for the debt if we were about to considerably overperform on the GDP front. I think actually the opposite is likely to be happening. It's going to be worse because we're going to underperform on the GDP front, because that's what you would generally do with high tariffs. And I don't think there's any particular reason to think that Trump is able to personally suspend the rules of economics and the expectations of what would happen. I think chances are the US is going to slow down, and if we actually see some real trouble this year, it could well go into recession. It could potentially be a very deep recession. It won't, on the plus side, this won't be like the last time this was tried in 1930, of course. The US partners will not be responding with equal size tariffs, so they'll probably just seek to trade more with each other and isolate any trouble in the US from the rest of the world. And probably will be partially successful in that. Certainly, I wouldn't expect the really bad effects that happened in the 1930s to be repeated. But obviously, that won't be great news for the US. All right, let's have a look at CL. CL, we've got no current negative divergence. This does kind of look like a bear flag forming, but we're over the monthly pivot. It's possible this could start taking off. HO, I've rolled CL, HO, and RBOB all into September, by the way. HO, this looks like a bear flag, which looks as though it might be about to break down. RBOB, possible bear flag as well. I think overall the pattern setup is leaning down, but we need to see some more. We need some more moves to clarify that we are actually going to break down. Nice looking little level top here. It's a bearish looking setup overall. NG is possibly forming an IHS right shoulder here, although we do have a higher one up here. We did have a little weak sell signal here, and that failed overnight. Might be heading down into a low retest here. This setup is promising more upside, but a topping pattern would obviously help in that regard. GC, I've got mixed feelings about GC, because GC should have had a pretty decent run last week, and it didn't have it for whatever reason. We had a hell of a run on silver. We actually got up into my 39 target and exceeded it. It doesn't need to stop there, but obviously it might. And we got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. And we got a 60-minute sell signal fixed on palladium after a very nice run up there. On platinum, we've still got a potential level top here. I'm wondering about the move on silver particularly, and whether we might be hitting resistance. HG, obviously this is mainly an artifact of the 50% tariffs that have been announced on HG, and I think this was just a lot of buying before those tariffs come in on the 1st of August. That is a tariff which is likely to modestly increase copper mining and significantly damage American manufacturing, which uses a lot of copper. Right, so let's have a look at KC. KC, possible bottoming action, 6-minute buy signal reached, possible near miss target. Sugar, we're failing at the monthly pivot so far. We've got a nice looking little level top here. I'm thinking we might see a retracement back down into about 15.75 area. CC, still looks like a little bear flag or triangle forming short term. Nice looking overall double bottom there. CT, still trying to break down the IH heads and shoulders has not failed, which you would do on a move over about 68.40 area. And it's looking for a retest. The head and shoulders is looking for a retest of this low here, which we might see. LP, lumber, we've got a nice looking double top here on wheat. Testing the monthly pivot as resistance. Bigger picture, I'm thinking we could see considerably more downside short term on the grains as part of a larger topping pattern. Nice looking little double bottom, and we've got a 6-minute buy signal fix on corn. Soy, we've got a 6-minute buy signal fix and a nice looking little double bottom too. Soybean oil kind of looks like it wants a retest of this high here. Live cattle, possible nested double top here, which is nice, 6-minute sell signal fixed, and lean hogs. We've got head and shoulders, which is wending its way at the moment down towards the target in about the 103 area. And I'm not seeing anything currently to suggest that isn't going to make that. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. Silver, yeah, I'd love to see silver go to 45 too. No question about it. But I've got a whole load of resistance trend lines at 39, and I'm watching to see whether those could hold. Breaking convert 40, and we're over them all. So we will see how that goes. That would be nice to see. So we will see. Okay, so that's where we are. Tariffs are putting a big cloud over the market here, and if they're going to continue to be a big issue, which I think they might well be, then I think these may be the highs for the year that we're looking at the moment, except for on IWM, which has already made them. So we will see. There's certainly there's certainly a lot of scope here in terms of negative divergence to see at least a significant retracement here, and we've got the beginnings of what might be large topping patterns, but at the moment they're only small topping patterns. We'll see how those develop. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap, guys. I will catch you on tomorrow. Watch out! I will be posting a post today talking about these topping patterns, but I won't be saying an awful lot of those that I haven't already said in this webinar. All right, everyone, take care. Catch you tomorrow morning.